I mentioned that Picture Creek is managed as a collaboration between a couple of different agencies and divisions. And I picked this stop to kind of introduce the site because I think it does a pretty good job of showing some of the older, more hands-off management recommendations that we followed for about the past 20 years. Kind of a desired future condition, albeit we'd rather have a few more trees out here than just in this power line. And some of the more recent management practices or silvicultural treatments that we've been implementing to try to improve the conditions for these rare, threatened, and endangered prairie associate species like smooth coneflower. So when this site first got protected, there was some concern over how best to go in and manage the rest of the site surrounding these populations that were really only persisting underneath this power line. And the goal has always been to get some of these species out from underneath this power line and out into the forest. And at the time, there was a lot of preference put into, or the major preference was just use fire. So for many, many years, the main recommendation that we could get all of the partners to agree to was regular use of prescribed burning. So we tried that. For about 20 years, we would come in periodically as we had funding available, and as we actually had decent fire weather, we'd try to do understory burns throughout the stand. And to your right is an area that the only thing that's been done over there is prescribed burning. But if you take a look at that forest, you can notice it's pretty high density. We're looking at about 140 square feet of basal area per acre. Most of it is dominated by loblolly pine. There's some shortleaf, there's some post oak, and then the understory has your typical mix of mesophytic hardwood species like red maple, sweet gum. There's even a little bit of yellow poplar that pops up a little further downhill. So it's pretty typical what you'd see in the Piedmont when you've had fire excluded from a site for about 70, 80 years. This site was abandoned from agricultural grazing and burning that was associated with that during World War II. And prior to that, we have reason to believe that the area was burned pretty frequently through other anthropogenic disturbances, centuries ago. So it's been burned out here frequently. But that was pretty much the main management that we were tied to for many years. And as you might expect, a species that grows best in this condition did not grow very well in those conditions. So we decided to try to work with our partners and figure out a way to do some silvicultural treatments out here that would improve the conditions for these rare, threatened, and endangered plants in a way that was palatable for everybody and minimized the negative impacts on the site that you can oftentimes have when you start to implement silvicultural treatments, especially those that involve heavy equipment like harvesting equipment. So I will go ahead and stop this video and take it over to that area and show you what we did.